Hi there. Oh, welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about three or four. We're always going to have way more links than that. Poor Brian here got deluged with stuff. And we're going to get you on your way in about 15, 20 minutes. Shout out to Autumn for doing all the work last week while I was on vacation, who Brian works with out at the North Lauderdale Library. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. Can't complain. Happy to be here.
It is an awesome thing you guys are doing out there with the Creation Station Science things again, and you've been keeping that up for years out there now.
Oh, yeah. We have an active STEM club right now that kids come to. They enjoy. We get to do a lot of things like use the microscopes, run Kiva blog programs, snap circuits. They enjoy it. So it's a really good time out here.
Yeah, you guys have been doing hard work, and then now with the scientists and resident stuff, you guys got this happening out there.
Citizen science kits, we have a lot of good stuff here.
So we have a bunch of stories.
Okay.
That are some pretty crazy things out here.
Yeah.
The links are in the show notes for everybody, so that you can follow along if you want, or if you're just listening in now, remember, hit like and subscribe there, or let us know what your favorite stories are. Time travel. We got 3 time travel stories today. So if you think we're repeating, we're not in a time loop. Number 1, time travel is real. What do you think about this one, Brian? I mean,
time travel. I believe it's possible. I believe it's real. I believe the concept can be attained, but in real time, I don't think it's real at this moment. I believe it's something that can be available in the future, but right now, I think it's just a concept.
So here's the trick. They've tested this, and it really works by putting super accurate atomic clocks on people in spaceships. Officially, the International Space Station and some of the returning ships, and tracking the speed of those clocks and changes in those clocks as the orbits are going around. If you're orbiting in the correct direction of the Earth at the correct speeds, you actually speed up and end up faster than you would have, and therefore in the future than you would have. Now, for anyone out there who's like, oh, wait, this is amazing. This is a great breakthrough. Yes, it's a great breakthrough because they've never been able to track this and measure it before. But you're only living in the future by
a couple seconds or so.
Oh, not even. Like milliseconds.
Okay.
You're in like milliseconds of the future or the past as you're doing these things and working and tweaking this. It all has to do with the theory of relativity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it's not a thing yet.
Yeah. I always thought when I was a kid, younger, I always thought time travel was like you fly to Arizona, you're 4 hours behind. I traveled in time, but in the reality, it's like, nah, it's still the same time. It's a different time zone.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. See, and that's how it is. I've got friends all over the planet, and I'm always like, okay, I'm going to be on at 6:00. Well, 6:00 my time. Wait, we're in daylight savings time. I'm at +4 this time, or am I at +5? Or, yeah. Sorry.
Even New Year's Day is like, okay, this one's at countdown. Okay, countdown again, 2 hours. The countdown again,
24 hours of champagne. I'm all for it, Brian. There we go.
Exactly.
Okay, time travel number 2. Micro USB. So if you are not old enough, you don't understand that there used to be many different types of USB cords. Now, almost everybody is on USB-C, which is, when you look at it, it's a standard oval type shape that plugs into all sorts of universal stuff. I know Apple products used to have a different one. Now they're moving to using USB-C because the European Union requires it and such like that to continue for this.
Exactly.
But 18 years later, after they've put in different standards, they are still shipping products with micro USB, which is the weird old little plug it kind of looks like a squashed D, and it's got 2 little extra prongs. You can see on the picture here, you've got 2 little extra prongs on the top to hold in the plug correctly. So this is a time travel story because we're going back in time to use these plugs again
Yeah,
because they haven't updated their standards for their equipment. The plug has been updated a long time ago, but the physical gear, in this case of the one that we're talking about here in the article, this is a photo printer.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yes. Really
That
neat
is
gadgets,
still
too.
shipping in 2025 with micro USB.
That's crazy. I haven't seen micro USB in probably about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
also using a camera, like a digital camera back in the day. You used to use a micro USB to plug into the bottom of to charge it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've got that. I do have one device at home that uses mini USB.
Yes, I've seen those before.
But that's because A, it's an old device, it's from 10 years ago, and B, it needs a different kind of adapter because it's a data cable and not a charging cable. So I don't think they could ever change that one off without going to full USB-C, and they don't make those devices anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I was just floored by this, that all the Roku streaming devices and all the Amazon Fire devices are still on micro USB.
No, they are. Yeah, they are. Even the new Fire Sticks you buy, they update them. They still USB. Yeah, USB, micro USB, which is crazy because everything's been updated like it's a USB-C. iPhone, a lot of laptops are using USB-C for powering their laptops now. Smaller notebooks.
Yep.
I see some Apple computers moving towards that as well. So I'm like, I'm surprised they're still even bringing these back out.
And it turns out part of this is the fact of there's just this huge inventory of this type of plug that is available for manufacturers to use in their devices, and all the engineering specs are there, and all the power stuff and all the things you need on your board to do this is all well established, well baked in, and you can do it for cheaper. Even though you're going backwards in time to grab an old technology, most times you're going back and you're grabbing an old classic type of technology, and that would affect it.
Not exactly.
But now you're actually cheaper by going back instead of using the current modern technology. It's just craziness.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's crazy. I guess it's like, hey, we got to go and use it until it's all gone. Then we convert.
And now we got one more. You know, they made movies about this, and I'm just not sure anybody paid attention. Scientists went back and took algae, 7,000-year-old living things that were buried and dried out, and they've reimagined them and brought them back to life. I'm not so certain this is a great idea.
Yeah, because they can bring back more things that you don't want, like diseases and other things that.
100%. Right. Yeah. See, you got it right down there, right, Matt? Bam, right to the point. What are we doing? Now, admittedly, if you go in and read the story, they did this in a very nice, controlled atmosphere. Everything's locked up, and it's not like they just put it on a countertop and drop some water on it.
Yeah.
But still, I'm just like, huh.
Yeah. That's just like how they say was Antarctica is melting, the ice sheets are melting, and every time it melts, it could be bringing out new diseases and stuff like that were frozen millions or thousands of years ago.
Oh, I didn't even cover it because it happened one day too late to cover, or too early to be in this week's news. The ice shelf that broke off of Antarctica 2 weeks ago, they're finding all sorts of new life forms and stuff underneath it because now it's moved out of the way and they can see for the very first time what was underneath it.
All this new stuff.
No, there's crazy stuff out there on this planet that we don't know about, and we gotta go, and it's great to go find it, and it's great to go look at it. But this was down in the Baltic Sea, so up in the ice cold areas up there in the Nordic countries.
Yeah, especially as the world's getting warmer, the more things you'll start seeing.
Yeah.
The more things to
So
uncover.
on the plus side, by doing this, they are figuring out how to do some of that deep sleep type of things, how cells react when they're dried out and not, how they can move and do things moving forward through time to be able to pull these off.
Oh, like cryogenic sleep type of thing.
Yeah. It's another, that's kind of where this whole project started was, okay, let's figure this out. Let's compare the ancient stuff to the modern stuff and see what those changes are and all those. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's pretty cool. If they can get that done, that'd be a step forward.
Yeah. So we have some possibilities, but you got to admit that looks like a science fiction movie right there.
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, imagine Captain America or like when they got Steve Rogers out of the ice shelf.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a listener story today, and honey, do I have something for you on this one? Okay, so in the chaos of everything that's happening at the federal government level this year,
Yeah.
there was a thing on exploitive ticket scalping
Oh yeah.
for tickets.
That's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible.
So again, a couple of examples. I've got a Beyonce one
Yeah, the resale
here
market.
of these sorts of markups on the Cowboy Carter tour that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And Lady Gaga has got another one going out here. And I love these headlines because here's the Lady Gaga one. Fans are disgruntled at $8,000 seats. They're not selling the seats at $8,000.
Nah, people are buying the tickets, reselling them for $8,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. And you know what's worse? And that's why it's a tech story, folks. It's not people. It's barely even bots. They're writing AI scripts to go in and answer the questions and scoop up the most valuable tickets first to be able to grab these things, pull them in, and do it. And then
Crazy.
you get these people like Marriott who are giving the tickets away to people who are high up in their rewards program. So Beyonce here, her tickets are going to these people. So Marriott is overpaying to make sure they get the right tickets. And so that leaves fewer tickets for average people to get. And those fewer tickets are being scooped up by AI bots. And then those are being resold and
for exorbitant prices. Yeah, the prices are crazy. And they're like terrible seats sometimes. You can get a Sky seems like $500. Like, what's going on?
No. Yeah, no. When you go and look at some of these ticket sites, it is insane.
Yeah, it's scary.
So,
it's scary. It's like
the number one thing you can do if you're out there and saying, wait, Bob, but if the president's going to go do something about this, he's not.
Yeah.
He ain't going to do anything about this because you would need to get Congress to pass legislation that rules on how someone can resell their own personal property, which is not going to happen because you probably don't really want that. You will probably want control over doing it.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is Live Nation and Ticketmaster and everybody owning all of those seats up front to say, now we've got these things, and now we're in control of these. And so they're the ones responsible for dealing with the bots.
Exactly.
And the lawsuit from last year that we talked about on the show, where they were sued because they allowed bots to be on their platforms intentionally because they were running some of the bots to buy tickets from themselves so they could resell the tickets from themselves. And it just is this vicious cycle that creates these $8,000 tickets.
Exactly. It's bad. It's really bad now. Like I said, I've seen them recently for even Chris Brown tour coming up soon. I saw recently they're like, as soon as you have to wait in the queue, and when the queue's finally over, you get in. It's like ticket prices are crazy. It's like, but I was in the queue and just got released. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's like, nah, just that quick. As soon as they release the bots, these AI programs are going in, scooping everything up, throwing back on the website. Like, okay, this is what we got available. Oh my gosh! Like, oh my gosh! Everything's already sold half the time.
And to me, it's particularly frustrating because this Beyonce thing or the Lady Gaga thing, football is not this way.
Not at all. Yeah,
football, you buy your season tickets from the NFL. You pay a particular fee for that, and then if you want to resell your season tickets, you officially have to resell them through the NFL websites so that it can work for you and those kinds of things. And they can control and not let people inflate the prices like this. So you don't see these sorts of things except for the Super Bowl because it's a special thing that's covered under different rules. But an everyday Dolphins ticket it's
pretty affordable. Yeah, it's pretty affordable. Yeah.
And even if you're buying them on a resale, they don't get marked up that much. And it's not because of the team. They're selling out and you can't get tickets sometimes.
Yeah.
But the controls that the NFL has on prevents them from going up so high.
That's pretty smart. Yeah. But I've noticed that.
So if you're like, Bob, how the heck did you do a whole story on Beyonce? That's why.
Yeah.
But I've got a much better tech story for us.
Okay, cool.
50-year-old batteries.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Can you imagine if you could just put one battery in a device and not have to worry about it for 50 years.
Just forget about it. Just at that point, you get to go one battery.
And
be nice.
It is just insane. And this is, again, we don't do stories of like, oh, this cool new thing that might be coming in the future. This is in production right now in China. So now with the new stuff going on economically, who knows when it'll actually get to the United States.
Yeah.
But you could use these things, and it's a small little box right like that.
Ooh,
that's
really
the whole
scary.
battery. That's it.
That's pretty cool.
And it just lasts and
cool.
lasts and lasts. This came out of nuclear engineering and trying to do nuclear energy stuff. And they found a new way of doing layering and transferring the energy, because that's how batteries work. Effectively, it is electrons moving from one space to another space. It creates the charge in your battery. And they have figured out a way to do this in such a slow, steady pace that it will just last for 50 years before it wears out.
That's
So
amazing.
you could put this in a light bulb. Now, it would not be a very bright light bulb at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to do like little background switches and stuff like that.
Like garage door openers, little things like that. Yeah.
So not even that. Not even that powerful.
Damn.
This is more along the lines of there are some switches and other breakers and things like that.
Okay.
That maintain a little charge, because once that charge dies, then you know something's wrong.
Oh, true. Okay.
So kind of like a smoke detector. But this isn't quite to the level of smoke detectors yet, but that's the next one they're doing.
Yeah. But
Which is super ironic.
Yeah. It's not a good idea though as well, but then wouldn't that like also like mess up the market in regards to batteries too? Because it's like if I gotta buy one battery 50 years, and it's like, hey, the battery market's gonna go tank. It's gonna go down because like I'm not buying batteries anymore.
There you go. See? Man,
It's like
Brian's
give and
right
take,
on
give and
top of
take.
every one of these stories today. And by the way, if anyone who out there knows and is about to send me an angry email, creationstation@broward.org, no, this battery would not work in your smoke detector, because it's not the batteries that wear out in your smoke detector. It's the actual physical detecting piece. It has to be replaced every 10 years. That's just why you have to replace your smoke detectors every so often.
Yeah.
Can't get around that yet.
Yeah, I learned that too, because even like you learn it because even like the ones that are hardwired, they start beeping after a while. It's because that part's broken, not because there's no more power source to it.
And you got to go replace them. So if you haven't replaced your smoke detectors in a while, you'll probably do.
It's probably time. Yeah, it's probably time.
One final story. How do dogs smell, Brian?
That's a good question. I know they use their nose sometimes. Do they know their taste?
You would kind of think, hey, it's 2025. We know how dogs smell.
Yeah.
Turns out we don't.
I'm not surprised.
Turns out, and by the way, just like always, we've got the original official scientific paper right there in the show notes for you, so you can go read all this stuff and learn about it.
Yeah.
Dogs have 10,000 more receptors than humans do, being able to detect smell, detect individual molecules of smell and everything going on. And it wasn't until we were able to use some new brainwave detectors that are portable, because you can't strap a dog down and put them in a CT machine and then give them different smells, because we don't know what other smells they're doing and what they're going on. I mean, you've seen the dogs that can detect cancer, all the bomb sniffing things and all those things.
No, true.
That's because they're filtering out some really fine particle and saying, oh, wait, this. Oh, wait, I was rewarded when I found that smell before. I'm going to go find it again, kind of thing.
Oh, that's so true. Like how people when people are about to have seizures or pass out, and it's like the dogs know before.
Exactly. And dogs can just figure that out.
That's pretty cool.
They're finally have figured out now some of it. And there's thousands of spots in a dog's brain that light up only when it's smelling.
That's crazy. So it's like their focus, like their brain just focuses on that one activity.
All of a sudden, bam. Yeah. Just like, I mean, they've done this with certain people with music or things like that. Like when musicians, when you start listening to stuff, you just clicks on you and your brain lights up. And they've done that inside of fMRI machines and learned some different stuff from people like that.
Yeah.
Now they're figuring it out from dogs because they got smaller, more portable units and they can go outside with the dogs and track it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That sounds like how people lose a sense, like you go deaf or you go blind, other senses increase. It's like if dogs are able to just like control that like on their own, that's pretty cool. If humans can do
Yeah.
that, that'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
and that's the next step that they're trying to figure out. Can
Yeah.
dogs turn it on and off, or is it just an instinct thing that, okay, I smell these new scents came into my nose, click, I have to figure out what it is and all the different stuff, and then should I go find that squirrel, or no, who cares? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
No, that's
as
pretty
I always used to call it with our dogs, going out and they stop at every mailbox and have to smell because they're reading the daily newspaper of all the different animals and dogs that have
Let 'em
stopped at
pass
the
by that
mailbox
thing.
and
Yep.
pissed and done all the things on the mailbox for you.
Exactly. It's like, oh, somebody's been here before. Let me stop here as well.
Yep. Let's see what Joe down the street left for me today.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's pretty cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Just craziness. The stuff that we don't know that we know yet.
Yeah, things that we're still figuring out in regards to animals and just people in general. Like,
This is why we need science, folks.
Exactly.
We need our science museums. We need our science institutes, et cetera, et cetera.
Because it helps.
Yeah,
It helps.
yeah. We got to go find this stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Sir Bryan.
Thank you for the
This was
invite, Bob.
awesome with you.
I had fun.
You guys have anything going on this weekend out there at the
this weekend?
Christian Science?
This weekend I don't
Anything
believe
coming
so.
up?
I know we just this past week we had STEM Club.
Mhm.
And then we have STEM Club coming up again in 2 weeks on a Wednesday at I believe 3:00 after school.
And I know I saw something go across the wire about you got something like May 10th or something around there.
Oh yeah,
National Science.
No, and I think we have Creation Station Open House too coming up too as well.
Yeah.
Where we invite a lot of people coming out, homeschool groups, teachers, anybody interested in trying to figure out what we have here. We invite them out and give them a cool tour about cool things they can do if they come out and just have fun with us in the Creation Station. So we have some
It's a
really
pretty
cool
awesome
things.
space. If you're in
we
South
really
Florida,
do.
you got to go visit it at least once.
You really do. Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah.
some cool stuff. The citizen science kits are amazing. Like I said, we have my new microscopes, brand new microscopes that are really cool to use. Some cool slides you can go and witness things on. We have Nemi, who works with our I Have Scientist crew, coming out this summer again for our science program that went amazing last summer. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, I say come on out. It's really good for the kids. The kids love it. They get cool things out of it. And it's not just boring science, it's fun science.
And it's for adults too. It's really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adults like science.
They do, yeah.
Huh. If there is a branch you want us to cover or a story that you think we need to cover this week, shoot it over to us, creationstation@broward.org. And we'll see everybody next week. Have a great day.
Yes.